Our world harbors strange creatures. They are witnessed by a select few, yet remain officially unrecognized. We collectively call these beings unidentified mysterious animals, or UMA. Hello everyone. Welcome to the UMA video series. In this episode, we will share about an ancient creature from Mongolia, the death worm. On the vast Gobi Desert of Mongolia, a bizarre legend persists, that of a giant, blood-red worm. This grotesque desert dweller is often described as the shape of a worm, measuring from 2 to 5 feet long, thick as a human arm, its whole body glowing fiery red with 2 pointed horns on each end. It moves in smooth waves through the sand. Its body secretes a deadly toxin capable of spraying corrosive fluid and even discharging electricity like an electric eel. According to local people, these giant worms appear every year in June-July. They hide beneath the sand dunes, attacking travelers and camels for food. Later depictions of it clearly resemble a terrestrial bobbit worm. The earliest documented accounts are untraceable, but Mongolian nomadic tribes firmly believe in its existence. Many claim to have seen it firsthand. In 1926, American naturalist Roy Chapman Andrews first mentioned this creature in his book, On the Trail of Ancient Man. The book states he once traveled to Mongolia for a meeting with local officials. Although none present had seen it firsthand, they all agreed on its existence, and their descriptions matched astonishingly. Even a high official mentioned that his wife's younger brother had seen it. Of course, the most striking account in the book is by the then Prime Minister of Mongolia, Damdin Bazar, on the death worm, described as a sausage too. Fingers thick, with no head, no tail, extremely venomous. Encounter it, and you're surely dead. It inhabits the Gobi's most desolate areas. As a government official, his testimony carried weight. Andrews later revisited this in his 1932 book, The New Conquest of Central Asia, adding that the worm dwelled in the Gobi's deadliest westernmost region. Following these accounts, reports and stories proliferated. Although the Mongolian government never mounted an official search, explorers worldwide took serious interest. Czech explorer Ivan Mackerel led expeditions in 1990 and 1992 into the Gobi Desert in search of the death worm. He even tried using powerful explosives to force it out, but failed. According to him, local Mongolians seemed reluctant to discuss the creature. On the 1992 expedition, they were even warned by a local Buddhist monastery that the death worm is an evil supernatural being, and advised to abandon the search immediately. Almost instantly, Mackerel had nightmares about the worm, waking to find pustules erupting on his back. This strange event was documented in the 1993 Czech TV film, The Sand Monster Mystery. Those interested may still find it. In 2004, undeterred by failure, he returned to Mongolia, this time with a light aircraft equipped with cameras, filming the vast Gobi Desert, hoping to capture footage of the worm, yet again with no success. Coincidentally, in May 2005, a month-long large-scale expedition by the Fortean Zoological Centre, UK, led by renowned cryptozoologist Richard Freeman, along with local guides, attempted to flood sand dunes by damming streams, hoping to coax the death worm out of its burrow. But the results were inconclusive. Freeman theorized it couldn't be a true worm because all multicellular invertebrates depend on moisture, and based on his careful records, most local sightings were second-hand accounts, suggesting the death worm was likely a misidentified reptile, exaggerated over time. In 2006 and 2009, the American paranormal series Destination Truth and New Zealand journalist David Farrier also mounted intense searches for the death worm, yet found absolutely nothing. A string of failed searches led people to seriously doubt, does the Mongolian death worm truly exist? You may notice this video omits detailed eyewitness reports, because upon thorough research, I discovered, just as Professor Freeman said, most accounts are very vague, mentioned only as hearsay, or to explain unexplained disappearances. The only clear sighting occurred in 1983, when Russian zoologist Yuri Konstantinovich Gorilov interviewed a 75-year-old man in Dalanzadgad, Mongolia. During the interview, a 9-year-old boy suddenly claimed to have found the death worm. Gorilov rushed outside only to discover that the creature was a sand boa, Eryx colubrinus, hunting a ferret. A reddish-brown boa with uniform scales, making head and tail indistinguishable. The adult female reaches up to 4 feet. It is quite docile, rarely attacks humans. Gorilov concluded the death worm was merely a snake or a giant earthworm, and its fearsome traits stemmed from fear of the unknown. Cryptozoologist Carl Schuker suggests the death worm is either a sand boa or a worm lizard, Amphisbaenia. Worm lizards are legless, burrowing reptiles. Unlike snakes, their belly scales match their back scales, with a small head resembling a giant earthworm. Furthermore, in my extensive research, I found some interesting notes. Many Chinese media outlets shared stories that in 2003, a German director named Frank, filming a wolf documentary in Mongolia, encountered the death worm, resulting in the tragic deaths of his cinematographer and assistant director. The director and driver sought urgent help from local authorities. Returning to the scene, they found the bodies had vanished without a trace. Later, both remained absolutely silent about the incident. Yet European media eventually got wind of it and reported on it. I searched extensively for any record of director Frank's ordeal, but found nothing. In other words, there is no online evidence of this incident. The only related work I uncovered is the 2003 film Children of Dune, whose sandworm monster draws on the death worm legend by screenwriter Frank Herbert. Some outlets also claim that in The Secret History of the Mongols mentions mysterious creatures guarding Genghis Khan's tomb, later dubbed death worms by the West. Note that in at least the edition of The Secret History I reviewed, there is no mention of any mysterious creature, nor any reference to Genghis Khan's burial site. Of course, the original Mongolian text is said to be lost, and the version we have is a later compilation. But I remain skeptical that a historical chronicle of conquest and national development would suddenly include such fanciful tales. Summing up all the above analysis, I strongly believe the likelihood of the Mongolian death worm's existence is very low. First, the name death worm was largely sensationalized by early explorers. In Mongolian, Olgoi Korkoi actually means large intestine worm because it resembles cattle intestines. Moreover, most eyewitness descriptions depict a worm-like creature, allowing for great imaginative embellishment. Second, its supposed attacking behavior varies greatly across regions of Mongolia. Only some describe it spraying acid-like fluid. Others report electric discharge in different areas. Therefore, I lean toward the reasonable view that death worm refers to multiple misidentified species. The sand wave traces are likely made by rattlesnakes or sand vipers, and the red, headless, tailless body resembles worm lizards or misperceived cobras, with imagined horns on their heads, and so on. This creature is a fictional amalgam born of legend and regional exaggeration. Further fueled by movies and games in recent years, the death worm figure has only grown more fearsome. In reality, according to New Zealand journalist accounts, sightings since the 1950s have steadily declined. To this very day, almost no credible reports remain. That is not to say the mysterious creature could not have gone extinct over time, for the unknown always outshines our knowledge. And that is part of the allure of UMA. That's all for this episode. Thanks for watching.